Hello, my soul brothers and soul sisters. I am Ron Smith, and this is the Dr. Ron Smith Investigate Show, where we separate the real from fake, the facts from fiction, and give you the winner's edge. And sometimes we're able to turn your water into wine. Today is episode number 9, and we are in season 2. But April is called Financial Literacy Month. Yay! We finally got a whole month that we could talk about money, but I talk about money all year round. But here's the thing that I want to really emphasize today. We are talking about financial abuse. And one of the things that I know have been a hot topic for a long time is called catfishing, where basically somebody go online or in the dating scene where they show you a picture of, let's say Denzel Washington, and basically look like, somebody else. So financial abuse happens almost every day, and it's unfortunately it's common in all relationships. And one of the things that we need to guard against is that the biggest business that you have to manage is your life, and part of the managing your part of your life is your financial picture. And one of the things that you have to be concerned with, and I call the 5 things that basically you have to earn or create your own money, you have to manage it, you have to leverage it, you have to protect it, and you should build a legacy around that. But I want to draw your attention to one of the things that I ran across this past week. That there was a Orlando city commissioner. Her name is Regina Hill. She was charged with 7 counts of fraudulent activity. And I'm going to give you a quick story. Part of her job, she ran across a victim who was 96 years old now, but she met her when she was about 93. And the woman, her home was in disrepair. She went in as a good Samaritan to help her with her finances and got her business straight. Unfortunately, the relationship took a turn. She got a power of attorney, and which means that basically she had access to this woman's financial accounts. The reason why she was charged with all this activity, the 7 counts, because she opened up a second power of attorney, which she got a second mortgage or mortgage for a $400,000 house on this lady's personal savings, and using her credit cards. And then on this house, she charged another $15,000 to do repairs. So over the next 3 years, she spent over $100,000 on cosmetic surgeries, on lavish lifestyle, even upgraded her wardrobe, et cetera, et cetera. So one of the things that I want to start to show off with is if you have an elder parent, make sure you get with them and you got to broker the conversation. If they're between 65 and 85 or older, you need to talk to them about their estate planning. And basically, I gave you some tips on how to start that conversation. I think it's about episode 6 or 7, and I might need to readdress that. But this is a real deal. Now, I know catfishing is normally when somebody's trying to, they show you a different face or they have a different persona, and we're going to get into the details of catfishing. But 9 times out of 10, it's almost like when we teach our kids about stranger danger, about, if you don't know this person, you always be cautious, any like a nondescript van where people would be snatching kids off the street and stuff. But normally, all the abuses that happens to people are people that they know each other. So 90% of the time, any type of assault, any type of criminal activity, or any type of assault happens when people actually know each other. or trying to build up a fake relationship. And that's one of the things you have to guard against. Now, by me saying that, you have to be on guard at all times. I know you would think that the bank would be your friend, that the mortgage company would be your friend, even the government would be your friend. Well, all those people, whether it be the government taking taxes out, well, the bank, giving you less for your savings account and charging you all these, fees for ATM charges, etc. You would think all those people would be for you because basically you're a good client. Unfortunately, that's not the case. You have to be able to protect yourself. So what do you need to look out for, and what are the red flags? Any type of relationship, there are some things that you need to look out for. I'm not an expert on dating, I'm way past that time. So here's some things that you need to look out, even financially or romantically. If somebody have avoidance or secrecy about their finances, that's a red flag. If the conversation starts up about basically how they spend their money, or you ask them some questions about their, future plans, they become defensive or hesitate and, answer those type of questions. I have this saying that people who have nothing to hide nothing, which means that basically, if you're in any type of relationship, if the person is not transparent, you need to be, that's another red flag. If you see somebody who is irresponsible in their spending, which means that, well, let's put it this way. If I am always, appears that I'm overspending, I max out my credit card, or if I'm doing some impulse spending, then that's a red flag. If one of the conversations that I would have if I was single, what are your financial futures? What are some of your financial goals? And if somebody don't have those type of things in place, or they can't tell you what they're doing, that's the red flag. I know it'd probably be rude to ask somebody what their credit score is, but one of the things that I found out that basically, if you're thinking about it, you need to ask. And why have the song and dance, especially if you're going to be in a business relationship, and especially if you're in venturing into a romantic relationship, you need to know those things. And one of the big red flags is if their financial state always have to depend on what somebody else does, which means that basically they have very little to bring to the table. That is one of the things that you need to be a red flag. What about the financial entanglement, as I call it, is that in order for this to happen, this got to happen, and that has to happen, which means that basically this person cannot put together a plan by themselves. They always have to have somebody else input into their financial situation. Then again, somebody who have a not thinking about the future, it's going to happen. Just like retirement is going to happen. Eventually, you're going to have to graduate out of high school. Eventually, certain things have to happen. So if the person don't have any future plans, that should be a red flag to you. And number one, which I'm going to repeat time and time again, when somebody starts asking you for money, that is a major, major red flag. Especially early on in your, relationship. And that's one of the keys to having a financial plan. Here's things that you have to be very, very cautious of. Just as I gave you the illustration of the victim, this elderly victim, And I'm quite sure if you had a 96-year-old mother or grandmother or great grandmother, and if there has not been a lot of family visitation or input and stuff like that, uh, most time people who like to do these financial catfish, they prey on people who are estranged from their family members or not having a constant visitation and input. So this lady took advantage of that, and it started off very well. And I don't know if she was just setting it up, and then she saw an opportunity when she found out how much uh, the property or how much estate this woman actually had, and then she took advantage of it. So one of the things that financial catfish do, they ask for personal details. They might ask you, uh, uh, and this is going to be a sidebar. One of the things that I talk to my daughter on a probably 4 or 5 times a week, and she's dating. She's probably gonna cringe when I say this, but one of the things they really ask for, what are your relationships with your parents, and especially what is your relationship with your dad. So when people start probing you for personal information, that is the time that you need to sit back and see exactly why do they want to know that information. And normally, if a guy asks you that, they want to know if you have, daddy issues. Most people, most kids run away from home because they have a very estranged or difficult relationship, especially young females, with their father or with their stepfather. So basically, what guys try to get personal information. So basically, they're going to try to use that against you. If you are in this financial situation and it's turned serious too quick, it's almost like you just met somebody, and then they start asking these serious questions, and that's male or female. That is a red flag. Relationships should grow, and it should develop over time. Now, if you want to shock somebody, then you do that. But then again, that might be at your own risk that you actually turn somebody off. But when things start asking, especially asking you about your personal banking account, your investments and that kind of stuff, as long as you keep it general, I think that's okay. But when they start asking for very specific information, of course, you never give away your username or your passwords and all that kind of stuff. That is for people that you actually trust, which means that it should be reserved only to your family members or your significant other. And one of the things that if a person is trying to establish a relationship and you cannot find anything on them online, that probably is a good red flag, which means that basically they have so much information about you, but you have very minimal information about them. And I'm going back to this one. When they ask you for money, that is the biggest red flag. So when you and I would immediately drop that individual and run the other way. I wouldn't even walk. I would run the other way. Here's another big one. If somebody wants you to keep their relationship with you a secret, which means that, hey, this is, there are so many acronyms or colloquialism I can use right now. But if they want to try to keep your relationship on the down low, they're hiding something. And basically, that is a big red flag. So, what we're talking about, financial abuse, we're talking about catfishing in the financial world, and we're talking about different things of how people get into your life for no good reason, only to use and abuse. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we can come back talking about financial abuse. Hey, what's up, my soul brothers and soul sisters? This is the Dr. Ron Smith Show. Follow my show on YouTube at SKST Productions. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much. And now we can continue with financial abuse. And I gave it a good illustration. And matter of fact, just her name was Regina Hill. She was Orlando City Commissioner that built this woman out of over $500,000. And she did it when she went in to actually help this lady to get back on her feet. But what she saw that this woman was very, very well financially stable. And it's obviously this woman did not have a supporting network, family members, children, etc. I don't know the status of the victim. Matter of fact, they didn't even give her name when they put out the indictment because they wanted to protect her. So we're talking about financial catfishing, which means basically somebody posing as somebody that they are not. And that's the essence of catfishing. And I went over a few of the things that you need to look out for. But I want to pause for the calls right now because I was going to do this later. But I want to do it now because it's really dear to my heart. And I might get emotional when I say this. If your mother or father is alive, give them a call. Please give them a call. Talk to them. Don't text them. Talk to them. Talk to them as often as you can. It's obviously this 96-year-old victim did not have a family network to actually protect her from this abuse. And it's obviously this woman lived a well life to be able to have this amount of money in her estate, that she was a victim of somebody who she thought was, caring and did to her. And call your parents, your grandparents as often as you can. Now, over time, you're going to think that you're doing it for them. Over time, when you start. In the long run, you will find out that actually you're doing it for yourself because you're connecting back to your roots. And as long as you live, those are the memories that you're going to have when your parents or your grandparents pass away. So that's my PSA, my public service announcement for you. And I wanted to do it in the middle of the show because I might forget to do it at the end. So let's get back talking about financial catfishing and financial abuse. One of the things that happens, and I went down a few of them. Basically, they want personal details. Basically, they want to move in a relationship, get serious too fast. Basically, you can't find them online. You can't find no information about them. They give you very little information about them. And next, they ask you for money. That's the number one red flag. The next one is that they want to keep this relationship secret, which means that basically either romantically or financially, they don't want nobody else to know about it. Here's the thing. They avoid any face-to-face contact, whether, you meet them at Starbucks or even video or FaceTime. Something always wrong with the camera, et cetera, et cetera. They always give you some type of an excuse. Those are the red flags. And the stories just don't add up. This person tell you one thing one time, and then they tell you something else, and then things just don't follow through. And basically, this person is unreliable and undependable. And you would think, as I gave you the illustration, that this 96-year-old woman was built out over a course of $500,000 over a course of 3 years, which means that basically she was groomed, she was set up. And like I said, I don't know if this Orlando City Commissioner had ill intent when she first met her, but I know she saw an opportunity that apparently was too good to pass up. So there have been many cases of elder financial abuse of people, pretending to be somebody else, especially a caregiver, et cetera, et cetera. There have been a lot of nursing home abuse also, where, some of the employees has went shopping on some of the clients' credit cards, etc. There have been so many cases. And I'm going to talk about another one a little later in the show. But you would think that if somebody is lonely and they don't have anybody to talk to, and they was elderly, but they were saying that over 50% of people being catfished, especially romantically and sometimes financially, are between the age of 25 and 34. But you would think, and because they're on, they're on their phones and they are on social media more, and I think that's the real reason why they are basically taking advantage in that way. But the main thing is, once somebody is victimized, they are too embarrassed to come forth and, let other people know that basically, and I'm quite sure they feel that they're, so stupid that they fell for that. But, we are we have a need to need other people, and we have a need for community, and people prey on those things, especially, if they see an opportunity. So one of the things that we have to be careful of, or know, is that since we do live in a capitalistic society, we have to understand how this society works. And this might be a sidebar from being catfished, but think about it. If I am in this society and they told me that basically I had to set up my own retirement plan, and I had to invest my money into a retirement plan without any type of formal education. You get a job, whether you get 4 years or a master or PhD degree. If you go on to this job, they will give you specific training to make sure you excel in that job. Every other area is created that basically you get educated for that job, except your retirement plan. They just tell you that basically put your money in a 401k, but they don't tell you how to actually do that. Now, in my mind, basically, that's being catfished. Because if we are in a capitalistic society and we live in this country, the United States of America is a capitalistic democracy, there should be some formal financial training more than what they are proposing to do in the class. So to me, that's the biggest catfish, is that everyone else probably having an advantage of that. So basically, that's the genesis of this show, is basically the conversation I wish I had was that I wish I really knew how finance in America really operated and why it's so important. With that in mind, I want to share something different. At one time, I had really had a love Jones with basketball, and one of the things that I really wanted to play professionally. And I just heard this retired basketball player. He said this. And basically, I'm gonna look at my notes. He said that basically the average career in the NBA is 4 years, and he said in the fifth year after that, most of the NBA players go broke. And we always hear about these big contracts. Matter of fact, speaking of financial abuse, the the Major League Baseball player Otani interpreter somehow got $4.2 million to gamble from from this baseball player, and that's a part of financial abuse. Which I'm quite sure when you got $700 million, and basically you decided that basically some of that's going to be deferred, which means that basically you're really not astute for financially. But then again, your great grandchildren won't be spending all that money. But you look at all the NFL contracts, and they like to publicize that. And one of the things that he broke down what that actually is. He said on a $5 million contract, he said $2.5 million goes back to taxes, which means, especially if you're in California or if you're in Canada, that just almost half that goes into taxes. He said $15,000 to $20,000 a year goes to the NBA Association dues. They pay for health care, the travel, et cetera, et cetera. He said between 1% and 4% are agent fees. And see, there's another 1% that goes to a financial advisor. So from that $5 million, you're back down to $1.5 million. He said then you buy your own cars and your house. Then you have your significant others or girlfriends that you buy gifts, or one of the first things most people say that I'm gonna buy my mama a house. So when you look at all that, you're a paper millionaire, but actually you just really a high thousandaire. Now I know there's different, and everybody wants to say that LeBron James and all those other guys, or Stephen Curry and all those. Those are anomaly. The average NBA player is about $5 million. So what? And he said that after 5 years of that, and if he's not in the game anymore, that's what happened and why they go broke. So you think that with a financial advisor, they will be able to do some investments in order to actually maintain that lifestyle. One of the things that we have to remember is not how much you make, it's how much you keep. So if you're not understanding that your biggest investment is in life is to manage yourself first, you will have other people who are taking advantage of that. And just like the NFL said, not for long. Basically, if you live this lifestyle thinking that it's going to always be there, it's not. And then, I'm not going to even talk about the other, when you have these major entourages and how basically they actually eat up your contract and money. But think about you as an individual. You have to take control of the money that you have, because no one else is going to be better at it than you. You have to learn how to earn it and create it. You have to learn how to manage it. You have to learn how to leverage it. So basically you can expand it to those years, and you have to learn how to protect it, the money that you have for your future, and also build a legacy. And I in the prior broadcast, I have given you ways to do that. And as we continue with the Financial Literacy Month, I'm going to get more and more in those details of how you actually can expand that. And the thing about it is that if you start early enough, you can be that millionaire. And I can show you tips, and I've been giving those tips, throughout last season, and I will continue to do that in this season. So, give you tips on how to spot the red flags in financial catfishing, as I call it. Call your parents. They'll love to hear from you. And you'll get more from it than they will. Until next week, my time is up, and I thank you for yours.